And we continue our conversation with Green Bay Schools Director of Communication, Lori Blakesby, and Executive Director of Facilities, Michael Strangle. Thank you so much for joining us again. Studies have shown that the proper learning environment improves a student's performance in the classroom. So the recently approved referendum is really more than just aesthetics, isn't it?
It is. So I think one of the things that was interesting to see people look at when they were at the new Baird School was they commented about the hallway space. And one of the things that people will see, whether they're in Baird or they go and visit the new addition at Eisenhower, they visit the new addition at Danz, is they're going to see that continued in all of those schools, because what we're really seeing is the trend is to have the hall space being used as instructional space as well. And that allows teachers to bring kids outside of the classroom. It allows for more creative spaces. It allows for, in all of the schools, you'll see some furniture in the hallways as well as some window seating, and that allows for services students might get, speech and language pathologists that may work with a student, to have that space right there in the hall where they can work with students instead of having to maybe move them to a farther place away in the school. So the halls really have become not just the passing place, not just the place for lockers, but really the place for instruction to occur.
So for those small settings where you just need a smaller space, that is a perfect location.
Absolutely.
You mentioned the furniture, and more than just Baird got new furniture. A lot of the schools got new furniture. Why was that important, and how many schools were impacted?
The majority of our schools received new furniture, and it's a lot different than the furniture that when I went to school, the
Yes.
big desks or the desks that were all together in rows. The furniture that we're buying now is very flexible and a lot of different types of seating. Some students like to sit in the traditional chairs, others like to sit in a wobble seat because they need to move and they need to use some energy up. Some like tall seating. So we try to put a variety of seating in each classroom so that students can kind of pick and choose what works best for them. It's also very movable. So if the teacher is teaching one subject and wants to teach one way, they can put the desks and gather them in a way to instruct for that subject. But then if they want to do a storytelling or do some other feature, they can move the desks around in 5 minutes and set them up in a different way and have a different instructional environment taking place.
It sounds like it gives the teachers a lot of opportunity to really rearrange how they want to do the classroom, and also to make it adjust to their learning style and into their teaching style.
Right. One of the things that is really important about the furniture, as Mike talked about, is it really empowers students to really have that choice as far as to sort of pick the furniture that best works for them, and that's why there's so much flexibility in it. Another thing that I think is important is the ability to move the furniture, because what you'll see now a lot are teachers who have those opportunities for students to move. And so we'll walk through an elementary school and they'll have videos with kids dancing because they'll have music playing, or they'll be doing mindfulness activities where they might be doing some yoga or deep breathing. And so being able to kind of move everything out of their way and be able to do those things is really important.
It sounds like it would keep students more engaged, for one thing.
Correct, yes.
Talk about some of the other features in the schools that perhaps we don't see in some of the older schools. I'm thinking, for example, green spaces in the schools.
Right. A good example would be the new Baird School. As you come in the main entrance and you actually look right out through the school into the back of the school, in one of the courtyards we have an outdoor classroom. And it's a large green area, and then there's some seating out there that's just made with retaining walls. And there's also a sound system built right out there, so teachers can take classes or multiple classes out there and they can instruct with sound. They can also have a guest come in and talk to them. So we're doing a lot more with green spaces and trying to bring kind of like the outdoors in a little bit too with all the glass.
I can see that. That would be especially nice on a nice day. Let's bring the class outside. Unfortunately, there is a concern among educators and school districts these days that wasn't a concern when we were students, and that is school shootings. And I understand that has been addressed in the new design as well.
Right. That is a subject that we take very seriously, and it is something that's on our mind all the time. The new Baird School does have a feature that if somebody would come to the school and get into the school, we can automatically lock sections of the building down so that we can keep the intruder into a separate area from where the students are.
And that has to give, I would think, the parents too some comfort knowing that. When it comes to efficiently spending the taxpayers' money, what goes into the planning of making sure not only each school gets the upgrades that it needs, but that the money is distributed fairly?
Well, as far as trying to use the tax dollar the best is we try to use quality materials and equipment that is going to last a long time so that we're not doing a lot of repair and replacing all the time. So in our schools we use well-made air handlers and boilers and those types of things. At the same time we try to use very energy efficient equipment, LED lighting, dimmable lighting. We use the windows actually for lighting. So we try to use that too. And then when we look at which schools, we look at what schools have the most need. We look at enrollment, we looked at the age of our buildings, what schools really need the improvements, and we try to concentrate on those schools.
And is there what's been the buy-in from parents and taxpayers generally as far as the need for, the referendum passed,
Right.
that must have been a hard push from the district to try to get those needs addressed. Now that they see some of those, some of the results of the referendum, what's been the buy-in from parents?
Well, we have had a couple open houses. We phased our projects because of the large number of schools. So then this past winter we had an open house at some of our fine arts schools that we addressed at Webster, Washington, and East High School. And Lori arranged to have a shuttle go back and forth, and we invited the public in. And we've heard from some of our taxpayers that came to look at them that they were very happy on what they saw and that they thought we were doing a good job with their tax money.
Could you expound on that at all?
Well, I was just going to say that. We
Yeah.
were very fortunate that the referendum passed at 70% for the construction referendum. And that has been our experience the last few referendums that we've had. And I think that goes to the fact that I think the district has done a really good job of really identifying where is our greatest need, demonstrating the needs that we have, and hopefully, and then bringing them in once the projects are done. So we're going to be looking at having another opportunity in this January to open up all of the referendum projects, since we still have some that are still ongoing. And those projects should be completing around that time, and really getting everyone in to really see the investment that they made. You know, there's just so many different types of projects that were part of this referendum, whether it was the fine arts pieces, whether it was the community spaces that we've put into our schools. And so really getting people to really understand the value that's there for them as a community as well as for the students.
All right, thank you, Lori and Michael. And we continue our conversation after this.